Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Do me a favor, let's play a little game right now. Raise your hand if you're excited for SummerSlam this Sunday, based off of what you've seen tonight on Monday Night Raw. I'll give you a minute. You go take a second and think about it, because you might have to think pretty hard. But I'll give you a second. Raise your hand. Did you raise your hand? I'm willing to bet that most of you out there did not raise your hand, and I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you not one bit, because the WWE didn't really give us any reason to be excited for this year's SummerSlam unless you're a big fan of legends coming back for useless matches that mean absolutely nothing. And we are going to talk about all of that, plus everything else wrong with tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw as they try to go home for a SummerSlam show that's more like a summer sham. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Raw Review. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Awesome! T-shirt time!
You gotta be wearing the official t-shirt.
T-shirt time!
Do it. Do it.
T-shirt time! Home video game. Buy that shirt!
That's right, we are celebrating our 3rd anniversary, and that means it's time to roll out the t-shirts. This channel was born during SummerSlam season, and it pains me that SummerSlam has become such an unimportant, unloved, unworthy pay-per-view. What is there to really be excited about? I wouldn't know. I forgot half the card already, which means they haven't done a good job in promoting most of it. And based off of what we got tonight on Monday Night Raw, why would you care? Do you love Bill Goldberg? Goldberg! Back to kill Dolph! Who cares about this? They're letting legends come back to right the wrongs of a Super Showdown match that made the guy look his age. And now he's going to come back and they're going to serve Dolph Ziggler up on a silver platter to a guy like Bill Goldberg to get a token win. What does beating Dolph Ziggler do for a guy like Bill Goldberg? This guy beat Brock Lesnar. This guy was a Universal Champion. He's going to gain favor by beating Dolph Ziggler, a character that at this moment in time none of you even care about as well. And if you think it's not just about Bill Goldberg. If you think that the WWE is just going to bank on one legend showing up, you're out of your mind. This is SummerSlam. We need to make sure people tune in. And we're going to make sure people tune in tonight by telling us all that Trish Stratus is going to be at Monday Night Raw tonight on the Go Home Show. And for what reason was this to happen? It was really only booked to make people tune in. It was booked to pop a rating, because what did Trish Stratus end up doing tonight? The initial booking of the tag team match that they were having tonight absolutely blew my mind. It blew my mind, because here you have the WWE putting Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch on the same team. Two girls that have been trying to kill each other over the last year and a half or more. At least stemming from Evolution, when that pay-per-view took place, Charlotte and Becky have been nothing but bitter rivals. This pairing together tonight was the most forced thing since anything that has ever been forced, since Roman Reigns even. I don't understand it. Why would they want them to even be partners? Oh, just so they can have their opponents be a team? What does Natalya and Trish Stratus have to do with each other right now? Why, because Natty's almost as old as Trish? Natty's almost a legend? What is the connection? None of it really made sense. And then you're running the risk of having Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus in the ring, in action, by booking this match, which would have ruined everything about them having their first ever confrontation at SummerSlam. The WWE thankfully allowed some logic to play in, because they did go through with this booking, but they did end this matchup in a logical way. We did not see Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair lock up. We did have them overly push the Natalya and Becky Lynch storyline, but I could appreciate them trying to do something. Obviously, they tried to do something there, but really all it is was a bait and switch. They baited us all in to see them have Trish and Charlotte go at it, only to have it not happen, which is not really a bad thing. That's not really what was wrong. In fact, they redeemed themselves with the way this segment turned out. But everything else about this show, with the exception of Andrade Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio, was just overbooked, forced nonsense that did nothing to excite you about anything. Let's take in case in point, Seth Rollins, the WWE's biggest dweeb right now. The guy looks like one of the biggest idiots I have ever seen in my entire life. You want to talk about a clown, you can look up that word in the dictionary, and after tonight you can find Seth Rollins' picture next to the word clown. Because for what reason on earth can you give me, if you were Seth Rollins, and you got your ass handed to you last week the way Brock Lesnar nearly ended him completely, you're going to show up tonight, half-ass walk yourself to the ring, hobbling like an idiot, with your hat on backwards like you're all cool. You got a steel chair in your hand, but you can't fucking walk. Then you make your way to the ring, only to get eviscerated and eaten by the beast for the second week in a row. With a big match for the Universal Championship coming up 6 days away, you crawled your nerd ass out there to do what exactly? What was the plan, dude? I don't understand you right now, man. You're sitting on social media, you're calling out the fans, you're being all company man, and then you go out there tonight and you look like a big schmuck. There was no reason for that. If anything, the WWE should have taken tonight to keep Seth Rollins off of TV. Keep him out of everybody's eyeballs. Keep him off of social media. Let everybody wonder, is Seth even going to show up at SummerSlam? And then you make it infinitely worse, because not only does Brock Lesnar eviscerate Seth Rollins, you got Rollins huffing and puffing and whining and crying like Dolph Ziggler. Oh, I don't know if this is what I'm meant to do. I don't even know if he knew what he was supposed to say. He was stumbling all over his lines. And pretty much what he was trying to say is that he's not sure if he's doing what he's meant to do anymore. We always loved wrestling and this and that. And is this his path? I have nothing anymore. I don't have anything. This is all I have. Is he brain dead? Did Brock Lesnar knock his fucking brains right out of his skull? This guy is dating Becky Lynch right now. She's the hottest property in the WWE. There are millions of men all over the world that would love to be in your position, and you want to say you don't have anything but this? You don't have anything but wrestling? That's not believable. The WWE made it a point to shove that relationship down our throat, and now you want us to feel bad for Seth Rollins like he's got nothing in the world, sitting in the ring with his face looking like you just killed his dog? I'm going to go to WrestleMania, and I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar. Yeah, you look like you're going to beat Brock Lesnar, bro. What kind of nonsense is this? Who wrote this? I don't know. Whoever it is, they should be fired, because all you did was make Seth Rollins looked like a blithering idiot, a jerk, a complete ass. And I don't understand what the point of it all. Are we supposed to be feeling sorry for Seth Rollins? Because you definitely didn't evoke that emotion from me. You made me feel more like, get this guy off my screen. I'm done with you. Every word he spoke went in one ear and out the other. And you know who else agrees with me on this? Pretty much everybody in the city of Pittsburgh that was sitting in that arena. Now, granted, they barely made a peep for anything all night long until Bill Goldberg came out. I feel like they all went there just to go see Bill because everybody knew he was going to be there tonight. It wasn't really a big surprise. But the city of Pittsburgh didn't really give a shit about the majority of this show. Not that I blame them, because they're giving them shit like this. You got Seth Rollins flopping around the ring like a dead fish, crying to everybody like the Ultimate Warrior. Remember when the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage were doing their thing and Randy Savage made the Ultimate Warrior question whether or not he should be doing professional wrestling anymore, and it led to the whole career versus career match at WrestleMania with Savage and Warrior. Like that's meaning behind the words. Like, what are the meanings behind what he's saying? It doesn't mean anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. Just as ridiculous as the Roman Reigns murder mystery that we are now on. I would be a lot more involved and a lot more invested in it if they were actually producing these segments in some sort of facility that is not a high school. What do they go into? Whatever local town they go into, they go to the Pittsburgh High School over near wherever the arena was and take all of the AP equipment from the audio room and the video department from the local high school, and they got all of the interns to do their job because they don't want to pay somebody to do. I don't understand. Why does this shit look so bad? It looks like something that I could cut together, and I'm just a one-man media studio. Actually, the shit that I produce, as you've seen at the beginning of the show with my ads and my little Avengers intro, I can produce better shit than they can. And that's unacceptable. You are a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm just some guy from New York. In his room, in his house. There's no excuse for the poor quality of what is going on. Roman Reigns was almost hit by a car tonight. There was a vehicle that came flying out of nowhere, crashed into a vehicle Roman Reigns dove back into. Now, there's a couple of things we can tear apart right here, and let's bring the hammer down on this big dog right now. Why you would dive into a car that is about to have a collision when you had a clear path straight ahead of you? You could have ran towards Joe, who was standing right in front of you, free and safe from the distance of the incoming vehicle, and been 100% safe. But you said, oh shit, and dove back into the car that's about to have the collision. So really, this is all your fault. Now, if you want to say, well, he was just acting instinctively and he wanted to get in the place where he might have the most cover, you dickhead. Well, no, I'm not a dickhead, and this is just the way they wrote it, and they wrote for him to jump back into the car. This car crashes into his SUV Roman Reigns pulls into, and then he's acting like he was injured worse than when the gigantic scaffolding fell on him on SmackDown Live. He was attacked by production boxes and scaffolding that was mysteriously knocked over by some crazy forklift driver who we can now assume is also going to be the driver of this vehicle. And he's selling this car crash like what the hell he was just put through. Meanwhile, the only thing that he probably injured was his shoulder because it probably hit the gear shift when he dove back into the car. There was no damage to Roman Reigns from the impact of the accident. This is child stuff, man. There are shows back in the 80s that would put this shit to shame. And that's some pretty campy, bad television. My God. You want to take all of that and put it aside? Oh, you're nitpicking about the editing, and why don't you just buy into it, man? Why don't I just buy into it? They don't make it possible for me to buy into it. Because you want to have Samoa Joe trying to help out Roman Reigns, and I can accept that. He just seen a man almost be assaulted by a vehicle, so he's worried about the man's well-being. I would do the same thing, even if it was somebody I didn't really care for. If I just see them get hurt at that magnitude, I'm going to be like, yo, somebody get help. I didn't do this. You know, somebody come help this guy. And then you cut back to a scene where the Triple H now is following up after the accident. And in case you guys didn't catch this, there was no damage to the car. There was no damage to the car that was just crashed into by the mystery assailant. As Roman is sitting in the doorway, holding his shoulder and selling everything to Triple H. And why is Triple H even out there right now? Are they trying to plant another red herring for you to believe that Triple H may be involved, which wouldn't be the first time? But I definitely don't believe that to be the case. Why would you give a shit about any of this that's going on? On the other end, let's try not to be so negative. Somebody is trying to kill Roman Reigns. And that's not cool. And we don't know who it is. They are speculating as to many different people who might be the attacker in this instance. I have a couple of pretty crazy ideas myself, but I'm going to keep them to myself, and we are going to do a special video on that if they do not reveal anything tomorrow night leading into SummerSlam. I am going to let you guys have a special video about some of the theories that I have on who might actually be behind all of this ridiculousness that we have to be put through. Now, aside from even that, well, let me tell my one joke. I'm debating telling this joke because it could be considered a little tasteless, but I have to say it because I won't forgive myself. And the fact is that this whole thing might just be revealed to be a mistake. You know how we heard that the forklift driver was ill that day and he called out sick from his job and everything that just happened was some sort of an electrical malfunction with the forklift or some bullshit they've been trying to sell us on social media with the forklift incident. We're going to be told tomorrow or Wednesday that, this was just an accident and really the driver of that vehicle was just Jimmy Uso. And now they're like, oh shit, you almost hit Big Cuz. Oos, you got to stop drinking, man. Stop with the drinking and driving, bro. That's how we bring the hammer down. I had to tell that joke. If you don't like it and you're going to unsubscribe, don't be a dick. It's just a joke. Have a sense of humor. Okay? Because that's what we do here. We're not just an asshole who wants to rant and rave into a microphone. We're trying to make you guys laugh, trying to make you guys have a good time because we know for a fact that you didn't have a good time watching tonight's Monday Night Raw. And you know how I definitely know you had no fun watching tonight? Because one of the biggest things wrong with tonight's episode is they pulled this fatal four-way elimination tag team matchup for the women's championships in the tag team division. And you had the champions, the Iconics, an established tag team. They've been a tag team for years. You had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, an established tag team. They came up to the main roster together. Tag team for years. Makes sense. Kairi Sane and Asuka. Not a tag team for years, but they have been a tag team. They have been booked as a tag team. They have been given a tag team name. They do match their outfits on occasion, and they are a very well put together team. They fight like a team. They act like a team. They're a legitimate tag team in the women's division. And tonight, the WWE takes this opportunity not to take steps to legitimize the tag team division for the women. They did not take steps to make us give a shit about the tag team championships in a positive way. They gave the belts to Biscuit Buns, Little Miss Bliss, and Nikki Cross. Now, on the one hand, I am happy for Nikki Cross getting some championship gold. The circumstances surrounding it and the reasons behind it and everything about it is absolutely wrong. It's wrong. You had not only Alexa Bliss win the tag team championships with a tag team that's not really a tag team. It's just kind of a makeshift thing that they threw together. Alexa Bliss was trying to manipulate Nikki Cross into helping her win the SmackDown Live or Raw Women's Championship, and they failed. And now all of a sudden they're a legitimate tag team, and now they're the tag team champions. And to make it even worse, you had Alexa Bliss pin Kairi Sane. What? Alexa Bliss pinned Kairi Sane. What? Let's not mention the fact that she did very little in this match. Alexa Bliss, that is. Let's not mention the fact that about 75% of the moves she pulled off tonight, she missed by a mile. Let's not leave out the fact that Alexa Bliss was telegraphing her stuff so badly because she did not want to have her face bashed in. And while she did take one pretty nice super kick, for the most part, Alexa Bliss did nothing but her twisted bliss, and she wins herself the Tag Team Championships. They didn't give the pin to Nikki Cross. We didn't see Nikki Cross and Asuka pick up where they left off in NXT and have any of their intensity and have that be the culmination of this match. We had Alexa fucking Bliss pinning Kairi Sane on Monday Night Raw for championship gold, and you're going to sit here and expect me to tell you that tonight was a good show? That they're doing good things for the women's tag team division? All you did was bring the haters down even harder because you took the belts off of one set of women that you were going to do nothing at all with, a set of women that shouldn't have had the tag team championships in the first place because they are not ready to be in that position at all, and put them on the most notorious is the right word, woman on the roster. The woman who has been criticized as of late very heavily due to the fact that she doesn't do shit in the ring, and all she does is get championship opportunity after championship opportunity, and now gets more championship gold. She gets to put her name back in the record books. Alexa Bliss is a champion again. And then you can take this little caveat with you. If all of this was going to go down and this was your whole entire plan from the start for the women's tag team division, which I do not believe is the case, why did this happen tonight and not at SummerSlam? Why are you doing big time title changes on go home shows? And if you don't want to stick it in and find a spot for it at SummerSlam, then do it on the Raw after. You should not be doing title changes 6 days, 10 days, 14 days prior to a major pay-per-view. We're not talking about a No Way Out. We're not talking about an Extreme Rules. This is SummerSlam. Doesn't make any sense. Let's go through this show from top to bottom, starting right now. The WWE took a moment at the start of tonight's Monday Night Raw to pay homage to the terrible tragedies that have happened over the course of the last 48 hours, both in El Paso, Texas, and in Dayton, Ohio. The shooting shit that has been going on in this country for the last few years is just, it's out of control. It really is just something that I cannot even understand. I understand that just as much as I understand an episode of Monday Night Raw. We're not going to turn this into a whole political thing. All I need to get out there is, if any of you guys happen to be watching me, and you're even considering doing some stupid shit like that, please don't. Go fucking seek help. Don't seek firearms. Because that's some bullshit going on. There's a lot of families tonight going through some heavy shit, and my heart goes out to all of them. As it also goes out to the family of Harley Race, who we lost over the weekend, which is a terrible loss for me. I was a big fan of Harley Race growing up. He was a real legitimate tough guy. I feel like the WWE's tribute tonight kind of was a little bit lacking. They're usually really good with this type of stuff. They put together a nice promo for the most part when somebody departs, and usually has a nice little music accompaniment. They put together like a music video. They have people talking about him here and there and show some interviews and some stuff. But I feel like I kept seeing the same 6 clips over and over again. It just felt like, it didn't feel like your usual WWE tribute, if you ask me. But then that came later in the show anyway. I just wanted to tie that into the other somber moment of the night. They did then start the show in a big-time way, with Samoa Joe pretty much taking over the announce table, Samoa Joe's being accused of attacking Roman Reigns last week. We all know by the time this show ends up that he definitely was not it. He doesn't appreciate the finger being pointed at him, and he was going to bring the show to a grinding halt until he gets an apology from Roman Reigns. Somebody wants an apology. Roman Reigns is not the type of guy that's going to apologize, especially if he feels like he's been wronged, so it's going to be interesting. The one thing that I thought was interesting as well was that they made it seem as if Samoa Joe was hijacking the show right then and there at that moment. You had Michael Cole pleading with him, Corey Graves pleading with him, telling him there's nothing he could do, and that 80% of the WWE Universe thinks you did it. And Joe says, well, 80% of the WWE Universe are idiots, and I couldn't agree with him more. And not you guys, because obviously you watch me, you are not in that percentage, because my fans are not idiots. You guys know the deal, and that's why you keep coming back to the Hammer, because we keep it real. We call it like you see it. You're going to see a lot of people out there telling you how great tonight's show was. And they're all full of it. Because it had a few ups. But this show was a huge thumbs down. After the whole Samoa Joe thing, I thought he was going to hijack the show like I was saying. But then Becky Lynch's music started to play. And what's Joe going to do? Go beat up the man? He's going to stop the women's match from going on? No. So Samoa Joe just disappeared. He would reappear later on. We had the women's champion Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, the most ridiculous tag teaming that has happened in quite some time, defeating Natalya and Trish Stratus by disqualification thanks to Charlotte Flair being Charlotte Flair and leaving Becky Lynch high and dry, not really getting too involved in the matchup, not locking up at all with Trish Stratus, which is a good thing, the only good thing about this entire matchup. And then Natalya would lock in the sharpshooter on Becky Lynch and not let go. The referee counted to 5 and was forced to ring the bell, disqualifying Natalya, giving the win to Charlotte and Becky here. The match, for the most part, was not so entertaining because I was just not really into it. I was aggravated that Trish Stratus was being used as a manipulation tool here just to get me to watch. I was mad that they even booked the match to begin with. You could have had Trish Stratus just come and cut a promo. You could have just said that. Trish Stratus is going to be on Raw. Why? You know, tune in to find out why. Why did you have to have this ridiculous matchup that made the champ look pretty bad and made Natalya, I don't know. Do you guys believe Natalya is going to win? Do you have any reason to believe she's going to win because she locked in the sharpshooter and didn't let it go tonight? I certainly don't. Let's move on to one of the better parts of the night. Rey Mysterio was defeated by Andrade Cien Almas tonight. Zelina Vega played a major factor here tonight as she was the reason for the distraction which led to Andrade picking up the win here. This match went almost 15 minutes and I appreciated every minute of it. These guys have a tremendous chemistry. If you're a fan of this channel, you know that we've always been very high on Almas. We've always loved his pairings with Rey Mysterio. I always wished that they would give it more meaning, that they would put some work and some time and some care into the storyline between them, and it seems as if they have done that because there is no championships at stake. This is just a personal grudge match, which has become even more personal with Andrade trying to remove the mask of Rey Mysterio every single time he can. And it's just reaching a nice point, and this where they're at right now is an excellent launch point to reignite this feud and keep it going for quite some time. We could get a myriad of matches between these two that will be numerous 5-star caliber matchups. You want to give me an Iron Man match between these two guys, you want to give me a ladder match at some point, submission matches, lucha style matches, anything you want to do. These guys are going to go out there and they're going to kill it just like they did tonight. Andrade hits the Hammerlock DDT following Zelina Vega hitting a stunner to Rey Mysterio, draping him over the second rope. Andrade gets the win during this the win in not during and not of, the win in this excellent encounter. They announced that Kurt Angle is going to be the special referee for tonight's Cedric Alexander versus Drew McIntyre matchup, and I have no problem with that because Kurt Angle is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania specifically. They found a decent spot to put him in. He didn't have much of an impact on the show. He did not negatively impact the show in any way, and we will get a little bit more into Kurt Angle in just a bit. They aired footage of the Cucknellis family at the OBGYN office with the 24/7, hey look at me, I'm a clown, avocado toast, gold-plated championship belt. And the only thing I could walk away from this segment and feel positive about is the fact that I pretty much nailed this with my prediction last week. I told you guys Maria's walking around calling herself the pregnant champion, saying nobody's going to be able to pin me. But while she's saying this, she's also telling everybody I have an OBGYN appointment next week, and I'm going to take the championship there, and yada, yada, yada. So I smelled what The Rock was cooking over here, and I've seen the writing on the wall and whatever other thing you want to say about it, and I called it almost to a T. I said that either R-Truth or Drake Maverick was going to be at this appointment, which was true. I said R-Truth or Drake Maverick was going to be dressed up as the doctor, and the referee was going to be dressed up as the nurse or some shit. Which was 50% true. What I did get wrong was I didn't think Mike Kanellis was going to grow a set of balls and be the one to pin his wife on the gynecologist table and walk out with the championship. I thought for sure it was going to be Truth or Maverick. However, before Mike Kanellis was able to exit the office, R-Truth and Carmella were sitting there. R-Truth was dressed as a woman. He said some funny shit, and then he pinned Mike Kanellis, got back the I'm a Clown Avocado Championship belt for the 1900th time, I guess, at this point. I don't care. And now R-Truth is once again your 24/7 champion. Change the channel if you want. I was about to. I really didn't care. Nobody should care at all about this ridiculous green vomit belt. I absolutely hate everything that happens with it. It was made infinitely worse with the involvement of the Kanellises. This is just going to be the beginning, you guys. This is not going to be the end. This is just going to be hot potatoing through the rest of these guys until the WWE mercifully frees us of the existence of this piece of trash championship. Becky Lynch was interviewed by Charlie Caruso. Becky Lynch said Natalya would let Canada down like she has her whole career. She mentioned Natalya complaining on social media about not getting chances, especially not the chances that Becky Lynch has received. But Lynch gave the machine no choice but to give her the opportunity. While Lynch stood up on top of an arena bleeding with a broken face, Natalya was on a reality show, changing her bikini on social media, perfecting her duck face. I thought Becky Lynch was on fire right there. It was very, very good. But then we had the rebuttal by Natalya, which was just a whole mixed up mess. This girl, for all of her talent in the ring, she is not blessed with the gift of gab on the microphone. Neither were either of her father or Brett, really. None of them really had that gift of gab that you need to be a number one guy. And Natalya proved that tonight. She was just fumbling and stumbling all over herself. She said that even if Becky applies the disarmer and breaks her arm, Natalya will not tap. She said it in a much worse way than that. Natalya then said she would take the title in her hometown of Toronto, and Canada will rejoice. I certainly doubt that's the case. Maybe one house in all of Canada, the Hard House, will be rocking that night, but the rest of the world is all on board with the man, and I think Natalya's overselling her worth, even in Mapletown. The Brock Lesnar-Seth Rollins segment we touched upon already. We're not going to say too much about it. Paul Heyman, we're going to hear from Paul Heyman when we see Brock Lesnar. We're never going to hear a word from Brock Lesnar, most likely. Paul Heyman, when Seth Rollins hit the arena, begged and pleaded Seth Rollins to go away. He's asking him, what are you doing here? Brock Lesnar had his way with Seth Rollins, and the crowd in Pittsburgh, like I said, not only did they not care, they seemed to be egging on Brock Lesnar, as if nobody gave a shit about Seth Rollins. And whose fault is that? WWE's got nobody to look at but themselves, right in the mirror, when they want to ask the question, why has Seth Rollins become so uncool? You have nobody to blame but yourself. This was just a waste of everybody's time. I didn't understand the point of any of this that happened. After everything, Seth Rollins is crawling around in the ring. When we come back from the break, he grabs the microphone. He says he has to ask himself if all of this is worth it. He started to get the what chants from everybody. That shows you how much the crowd really values Seth Rollins at this point. He said that the thing that he loved was getting him beaten to a pulp every single week. What, Becky Lynch is beating you up every week? He said the answer was yes, it was worth it. This is all he is. This is all he's ever wanted. This is all he has. What? We touched upon that already. Rollins said he would beat Brock Lesnar, and then he said he guarantees it. He had little to no energy, but he was just mauled by a beast, so how could you have energy to even speak? It made him look absolutely ridiculous as he rolled out of the ring, slowly walked away. He refused to be put on a stretcher. He looked like a pathetic fool. And I don't think I would care one bit if Brock Lesnar won this Sunday at SummerSlam. We had an interview with Kurt Angle in the back. Charlie Caruso was busy tonight. Kurt Angle said it was great to be back in Pittsburgh, obviously getting the cheap pop. The Street Profits interrupted. They got a pretty good reaction as well. They talked about their title defense at Toronto at the real SummerSlam, NXT TakeOver Toronto, and wanted Kurt Angle's help. Angelo Dawkins beatboxed Kurt Angle's theme, and the crowd did chant, "You suck," in unison. Montez Ford pulled out some milk from a cooler, and they wanted to share a toast of milk with Kurt Angle. First, Kurt was like, "No, guys, I can't drink milk. I told my wife I wouldn't get too crazy." Who gets crazy drinking milk? Kurt Angle does that too. Then Montez Ford dropped a pretty good burn, and he said, who are you, Kurt Angle, or are you Mike Kanellis? And I was like, wow, low blow. They're already going for the jugular on little Mike Kanellis, but it was fine. This whole segment was okay. Dolph, oh my God, Dolph. God forbid it was Dolph. Drew McIntyre shows up to break up the festivities. He made a move somewhat towards Kurt Angle, and he was stopped by Dawkins. It was a pretty intense little moment, and all he wanted to do was remind Kurt Angle of what he did to him a few months ago, and asked him to remember and call the match down the middle. We then went to the ring for a 1-minute squash match for the Viking Raiders. Nobody gave a shit about it, and neither do we. Moving on. They aired the Harley Race tribute video here. The crowd gave a standing ovation, rightfully so. Cedric Alexander versus Drew McIntyre, with the special guest referee being Kurt Angle, never happened. Cedric Alexander was making his way to the ring while Drew McIntyre attacked. And then while this was all going down, the arena slowly went dark, and the Fiend would show up. He latched the mandible claw into the throat of Kurt Angle, and then it would go black as usual with the sound of that demonic Fiend laughter, and the segment would end. I'm loving that Bray Wyatt took the mandible claw. I think that's a fantastic maneuver for a character such as this. It's going to give him a little bit of a new life. It's going to add to the legacy of Mick Foley as well, and I think it's a fucking great move. This was a good and fun segment. I like that they have Bray Wyatt just attacking random people. It doesn't always have to be a legend. It could just be whoever it is. The only thing wrong with what happened here is I don't understand, nor do I see, what this actually has to do with Bray Wyatt's match with Finn Balor at SummerSlam. Further proving my point when I tell you guys the WWE did nothing to make you get excited for SummerSlam. The SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Big E and Xavier Woods, came onto Monday Night Raw tonight and fought Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson for 30 seconds before this was turned into a 6-man tag team match with AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. The OC taking on Ricochet, who came out to bail out the New Day, and they were beaten by the OC. This match, I don't know why it needed to happen. I don't see the point in any of it. AJ Styles versus Ricochet is the only thing happening here. What are they going to do? Another SmackDown versus Raw Tag Team Championship interpromotional matchup at SummerSlam? Why? Why are we having the SmackDown champions losing to anybody? I don't understand it. I did like Luke Gallows bringing back the New Japan makeup. That I thought was pretty cool. I like seeing the OC actually winning. I still hate the name, but I like seeing the club being put in a position of dominance of sorts. But just because the New Day is part of a 3-man faction doesn't mean that they're the only people that they should be fighting. And especially if you're not going to bring Kofi Kingston into the mix, what was the point of it being the New Day tonight? Why couldn't it have been the Revival? Why couldn't it have been the Usos? Why couldn't it have been some other freaking tag team? And let them get over on somebody else. Why are you putting them over on another set of champions? Why do we have 2 sets of champions? It's not really necessary. At some point, if they unify these 2 belts into one, everything will slowly start to come together, but they still refuse to see that. And now with the brand split supposedly going back into full effect, I doubt that's ever going to happen in the near future. We had the Samoa Joe takeover of Monday Night Raw, where he sat in the ring and brought the show to a halt. My question to you guys about this segment is what was supposed to actually be taking place when Samoa Joe took over. What segment was he getting in the way of? He shut down the show. What was up next that he was shutting down? Nothing. Waiting for Roman Reigns to show up, and this was a little bit ridiculous. This was a little bit cringy, because as good as Samoa Joe is on the mic, the guy's pretty much just sitting there waiting for nobody. He's calling out Roman Reigns. He's counting to 3. He's making all these sort of ultimatums. Then he finds out from a production guy that Roman Reigns just pulled into the back. So he goes to meet Roman Reigns in the parking lot. Now, little thing number 1. The guy told him Roman Reigns was in the parking lot. And then by the time Joe gets out there, he just pulled in to the garage. So the guy lied, because Joe did not have enough time to make it that quickly. Alright, that's just one little thing that I noticed. The second thing we already talked about. Roman Reigns gets assaulted by a vehicle. He jumps back in his car and still somehow gets hurt. We had a lot of inconsistencies with the video packaging and the multiple cuts of the WWE and cutting back to Roman Reigns with Triple H and an undamaged vehicle, which made all of the suspension of belief pretty much impossible. This mystery attacker could literally be anybody, and we will talk more about it on the channel as the week goes on. But nothing else really happened here. Roman Reigns almost got hit by a car. Samoa Joe tried to get him help. Triple H tried to get him help, and that was it. We'll see what happens. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated the Iconics, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and Asuka and Kairi Sane with Paige in their corner. And what good is having Paige in your corner if she's not even going to fucking help you? She pays absolutely no dividends. Get rid of her. She doesn't go with the package. She doesn't do anything for them, and she certainly didn't help them win the Tag Team Championships in any way tonight. as we got Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross coming out in matching gear, which was clue number one that they were going to end up winning these championships. And it was the one team in here that I didn't want to win the championships. The one team in here that's not even a real team. It's like playing that game on Sesame Street. One of these things don't go with the one thing. The other thing is this thing and a thing. This match went 20 minutes long to coronate Alexa Bliss another championship. 20 minutes of action, and I'm willing to bet money that Alexa Bliss clocked in at a solid 2.5 minutes. Tops. But they are our women's tag team champions. What does it really matter? No matter who they give the belts to, they aren't going to do much with the women's championships anyway. The only thing you could maybe say is now that it's around the waist of somebody like Alexa Bliss, who's somebody that the WWE loves to shove down our throats, maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of the women's tag team titles. Is that going to mean a goddamn thing? Probably not. And I hate that Alexa Bliss pinned Kairi Sane for the win. They promoted the 2K20 commercial. I liked the 2K20 commercial. I thought it was pretty cool. I am not really high on the cover only because it makes me feel the same way I felt when Carmella won the first Money in the Bank. Remember when Carmella won the first Money in the Bank? Who pulled down the briefcase for her? James Ellsworth. Which means we had this first time ever thing for the women that was interrupted upon and shit on somewhat by the appearance of a man. And here we have the first time ever that a woman's going to grace the cover of WWE 2K's official game. And they had to put Roman Reigns on there. And I don't understand why that's happening either, because if you look at the year Roman Reigns has had, it has not been that great. His only accomplishment that he could really latch onto and be proud of is something that happened in his personal life that had nothing to do with wrestling. So is he on the cover just because he beat leukemia? Because what else did he do this year besides that? And it's not fair to Becky Lynch. This really was her year. I don't think there's anybody that has had a better year this year than Becky Lynch. Ups and downs included. All leading her to where she's at right now. She deserved to be the sole star on the cover of the game. And I know at the end of the day it's just the cover of a video game. What does it matter? But it matters to them. It matters to the point where they want to sit here and boast it and tout about it and be like, hey, first time ever, woman on the cover. But she's not alone. And it's not like you put all the women on the cover or something cool like that. You put her with Roman Reigns. For what reason he's a cover guy, I don't understand. I would have even understood Kofi Kingston over Roman Reigns. If you wanted to at least say, well, they're both champions. For what reason is he... Never mind. It's inconsequential and it's nothing. Tonight ends up with an episode of Miz TV that I really just... You all knew what was coming the whole time. I don't know why I'm fumbling on my words tonight. Like I'm Natalia. What the hell is going on tonight? The Miz introduced Shawn Michaels, who was coming out in his staple NXT hat. He then introduced Dolph Ziggler. We were going to have some sort of a contract signing for The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam. What Shawn Michaels had to do with any of this and why he was brought out there for any of this, just based off of what happened with, him and Dolph Ziggler? Like, why is he still involved? Especially if he's not going to have anything to do with what's about to happen in the future, which we all know was not the case, because this whole segment was just to bring out and announce Bill Goldberg as the opponent for Dolph Ziggler, all because he's been running his mouth. Goldberg tells Dolph he's next. Dolph Ziggler goes up the entry ramp and then gets sweet chin music right to the chin, looking like a dumbass tonight, only to be walking into SummerSlam to be made to look like a dumbass, and he's about as dumb as Seth Rollins right now. If you could find me two dumber looking guys as far as where they're headed in their wrestling career, who's on the dumber path? I don't know. I can't choose. I think they're pretty much neck and neck. Can you guys just take 1 second to imagine how much better you might feel about it, how much you might actually be interested in if they would have brought Bill out of fucking hiding maybe 4 weeks ago when Dolph started running his mouth. Have Dolph Ziggler say this shit way earlier. Have Bill Goldberg come out, spear the snot out of Dolph Ziggler one night, and then have Dolph come more and more at Bill Goldberg. Maybe Bill Goldberg doesn't want to have his match. He's like, listen, I speared you already. I'm not fighting you at SummerSlam, causing Dolph Ziggler to do some crazy shit to Bill Goldberg, which makes him say, you know what, fine, I'll take you on at SummerSlam. Now we have a reason to care. We have story behind it. This reeks of desperation. This reeks of the regular WWE MO, which is, oh, we don't know what to do. Let's call up the legends. Let's call up the old guys because they pop a rating. Look what Raw Reunion did. Let's bring in Big Billy Goldberg. Let's not give him anything worth doing, though. Let's just have him squash Dolph Ziggler because Dolph will do anything we tell him. We just lined his pockets with green, and he doesn't give a shit right now. He don't give a shit about his career because he's counting buckets of cash in his house somewhere in his bank account, and that's good enough. I'd like to think that I would never sell myself out that much. Dolph Ziggler has little to no value, and he's going to have zero value after SummerSlam. I don't see the point. I really don't see the point. And I know that most of tonight, the phrase of this evening was, I don't understand. Because I really don't. You got SummerSlam on the horizon, and you could care less about it. You waited until the Monday before the show to announce a big-time return like Bill Goldberg with no real story behind it other than, oh, well, Dolph Ziggler mentioned him in a few promos. That's why he's back. He's sitting at home banging his head on his locker in his friggin' garage. Oh, what did that guy say? I gotta go back to WWE. He said my name. Let me bash my head into the freezer. Bang! Bill Goldberg. Trish Stratus. Well, the woman formerly known as Trish Stratus. That was tonight's pretty... I just can't. I can't. I don't understand at all where we're going with many of these things, and I know you guys might be very interested in who got Roman Reigns, and we are going to go deeper into that later on this week. So look for it this weekend, right before SummerSlam, if the WWE does not reveal anything by tomorrow night. I don't understand how the WWE wants us to care about Seth Rollins when they made him look like such a sad sack that even his own mama probably didn't feel bad for him. And I don't understand why any of you guys will be tuning in to SummerSlam Sunday night. I do understand why you'll be tuning in to me when it's all said and done, because you have the most trusted source in all of news and wrestling. Even when I'm stumbling and fumbling all over all my words, I'm the most entertaining guy in the room and the best wrestling podcast around. And we want to thank all of you guys that put us up over the 1,800 mark. We are so close to 2K. We can freaking taste it. We got 6 days till SummerSlam. It would be amazing if we could get there by then. So, if you're not already a member of the coolest, newest faction in all the pro wrestling podcast fandom, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Jam the notification bell as well so that you don't miss a thing, especially that Roman Reigns video coming at you. And if you missed our Bray Wyatt special, that's a real good one to go check out as you conclude this video as well. Make sure you're here tomorrow night for our review of SmackDown Live. And don't forget, no matter what you watch on this channel, to bash that thumbs up if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed anything I had to say, if you liked any of my jokes, if you agree with anything, hit that thumbs up. Let the world know that we are A-okay. And then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they are extremely disappointed with the build and the hype towards one of the WWE's biggest shows of the year, which I'm sure most of you definitely are. We are going to roll the shirt ad one more time because I worked hard on this ad and this is freaking awesome, and it is our 3rd anniversary here at Sledgehammer TV, and it is awesome, just like this shirt. Check out this red Sledgehammer Wrestling Show shirt, the Sledgehammer TV logo t-shirt, and the all new Best shirt in the world, designed by me. I do everything myself. I don't sub things out to anybody on Twitter or let anybody else do my work for me. I put all my love and attention into this stuff. It's time to do it, you guys. Go do it. It's t-shirt time. Many styles and colors available. We got tank tops, women's tees, kids tees, many different colors available for every shirt. The CM Punk inspired Best in the World shirt. My favorite shirt. I'm getting mine soon. It'll be here any day now. Buy the shirt, like Kevin Nash says. Thank you guys for indulging that a second time. And thank you all for being a part of this journey with me. 3 years, you guys. 3 years. We're going to try to do a nice little 3-year anniversary show. Let me know if you guys got any ideas. What would you like to see? What would you like to hear? I don't know. Help me out. We're a big family here. And I love to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys got any special shows or topics or anything you guys want to see us do on this channel besides Hammer in Hollywood and all our wrestling reviews, maybe I could find time to do just that. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That's going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, baby, right here on YouTube.com.